When I visit Norway, there's going to be some incredible park-ups, some that are a hell of a lot nicer than my garden, but I thought we'd get the van on the grass, one mainly because it looks better, and I thought we'd go through a video of all the stuff I'm taking in my garage. I think the first thing I'll do is I'll get everything outside of the garage in front of the van. We'll have a look what they are, we'll put them where they're going to be, and then I'll introduce one thing, one at a time, starting off first with the chairs, obviously, so I've got somewhere to sit. We bought these chairs, I think, if I remember rightly, either the Van Love or Van Life Festival or the Overland Show, the first year we started going to any shows or anything. And there's nothing that'll make you realise how uncomfortable your seat is until you see how comfortable other people look in their seats. And we just brought some little fold-up deck chair things that come from the Grand California. They're sort of built in the back, they clip out, they're fine, they work well, they're free, they come with the van. And everyone was sitting on these, and they are perfect. So this one is massively battered now. The colour is definitely faded a lot because when it's not in the van, we just chuck it in the garden and we use it as just a deck chair thing. Nice size, it sort of folds down nice and easy to like an acceptable size. If I can find a link to these ones, I'll put them in the description, or if you've got any others that you'd recommend to other people, I'm fine for the time being, then pop that in the comments as well. This is a 30-meter cable thing for the van, just to plug it in. I also have an end which is currently being used over there, where you can plug this into a normal UK3 pin plug, which is what I use to plug it in when I'm not driving the van, so that it's on charge when it's outside the house. Nothing special, just a bog standard cable. I did notice that the ones that come with the vans are never long enough, and I'd rather have something much bigger, which is what I've got. I've had this again since the Grand California days, as you can probably tell, because the bag is a little bit battered now. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And these are one of the only things that haven't broke. Speaking of breaking, the next thing is this. Now I'll bring you over and show you exactly what's in here.
You've heard of the NC500, it's iconic, stunning beaches, epic scenery and some of the best roads in the UK, but it only scratches the surface of the Scottish Highlands. You miss out on places like the Cairngorms and even the Isle of Skye. So while I'm away filming in Norway, you can grab all three of our best-selling travel guides, the NC500 Improved, the Ultimate Scottish Road Trip and the Cairngorms and Highlands, half price in a bundle. That's just £30 for all three, only £10 per guide. As a YouTube channel, we do not do any sponsored content, brand related content, power bank reviews or any of that. We only advertise things that we make ourselves, which is why the sales of our travel guides massively are appreciated. They support the production of videos like this, the adventures, the diesel to get to these places, to make videos that hopefully you guys enjoy. To get this discount, head over to the link in the description. Now let's get back to the video.
So this is a little bit of a toolkit. Now, you've got, it's not organised at the minute, it will be before I go away, but I have been dipping in and out of this to use stuff. Obviously, I've got a driver with different bits. This is the Velcro, by the way, that Lodi has asked how I've secured stuff down. It's, I don't know what kind it is, it's off Amazon. I will put a link to it in the description. It'll stick your kids to the wall if you wanted it to. It's so strong, it's sometimes a bit too strong, and what ends up happening is the Velcro won't give up before the sticky tape does, so then you pull the whole thing off. Fantastic. Magnetic 3M tape, and I use this for the skylight to be able to secure the blinds in there, just the blackout things, in case I need a bit extra insulation. And I also use a little bit of this on the dashboard so that I can put this wireless microphone, because it's magnetic, onto that. Trusty duct tape. 3M Gorilla Tape, not 3M, Gorilla Tape. I've got fuses, I've got wood screws, I've got magnets, I've got a tape measure, I've got this little thing, which is like a little 90-degree screwdriver thing, because there's quite a few screws that are almost impossible to get at in the van, just the command strip things. And I also, I think I've mentioned them previously, is I 3D printed loads of these little L brackets. I've got loads of stuff in here. I've got some actual like rubber gasket stuff, again, sticky, these which are actually essential. These are the little rubber dots. I use them on every single cupboard, and I will be going back round before I leave for Norway and redoing everything, because some of them have came off. This is my general kind of not fix all, because it will not fix everything, but for like little bits and bobs, just to bodge things back up, just to make sure that they work for as long as I need them to until I get home. That has been essential for this van, if I'm honest, because as you know, if you've watched the channel for a while, it isn't the most well built. Now, before I show you what's in that bag, because to me now, once I've got one, it's the most essential part of being outside other than the seat. And it's because it gives you the surface that you put everything else on. And previously, I always just used this. So this is the tailgater tyre table. This is the original tyre table. This was actually the inspiration behind that. I suppose the only way I can really describe that is massively over-engineered, very overly built, beautiful bit of kit. You know, when someone just makes something just because they can, you don't really need to make, like, I mean, this works, it's fine. It's fine being the key part. Let's have a look at the difference. Now, the difference is substantial, and I think I need to probably put them side by side for you to see the difference. So I'll put the original tyre table on the back, and we'll put this one on the front, and let's compare the two. Not that there's much of a comparison. I mean, the function, the same, but as we all know, the things we buy most of the time is not for function. We can get cheap versions of almost everything, but we don't. I do need to get something quickly out of the way before I show you these on the van, because they are essentially just a table. They're not the cheapest, neither of them. You can't just buy something that stands on the grass and that's that. This does need a wheel to be attached to. And I've also had people comment before saying, well, I wouldn't want to eat me food off me tyre, which to me is just such an irrelevant argument. That would be like saying I didn't want to sit on a seat that's on the grass. You're not eating off your tyre, you're eating off a table that's attached to your tyre. So it's irrelevant for me. I haven't actually used this one, as you can probably tell by the dust and the muck on it. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I haven't used this one or even had it out of the shed since I got the UEO one. And I hadn't, if I'm honest, till I look at them now, noticed just the visual difference between the two, like how nashy and flimsy this one looks in comparison to Aiden's, until I put them side by side. Now, I am not a professional at putting these up. I do struggle sometimes. They're not fiddly, I just don't put them up that often to be like a well-oiled machine. But you do appreciate the way certain parts of this is put together. It makes a massive difference. So the first bit you obviously tuck behind your wheel itself, so we'll pop that in there, and it should fit pretty much any type of van that you've got. Tighten these. Just going to tighten it a little bit and then secure it on. Once that's tightened, I'm going to drop them two down, and then essentially the table is mostly secured at that point, and then but you've got a leg in the middle which you can put on your tyre, on your wheel, or on the floor like I normally do. So that goes there. You put that in and that in, and then the table will essentially basically hold itself there. But like you see, you've got another leg under here which you just will pop that out as well. So you put that down and then tighten it up, and that's that essentially. So I mean, I'm 16 stone, so I'm a bit of a fatty, as some of you have told us, so thanks for that. And it'll support my weight, no problem. I'll put the other one up there, and we'll put them side by side. Well, not side by side, kind of on the same side. And I'll show you, I'll take you along both and you can see what they both look like, because they both work in a similar way. Just one of them looks a bit nicer. Now, it may take us a little bit longer with this one, because it has been quite a while since I put this one up, to be honest. It's a little bit fiddlier because everything's smaller and stuff. Rather than putting the main leg down and putting the other bits in, because it'll just take a little bit longer, you can kind of see the difference. I'm not going to sit on this one. It would definitely come off without them bits on, but I would have to loosen it up and all the rest of it. So I'm just not going to bother. But as you can see, functionally, it's kind of the same. It doesn't look the same, doesn't look anywhere near the build quality of that one, but essentially as a surface to put stuff on, you can use this one. So I'll show you this first, and then I'll show you the other one, because that one's got a couple of little touches which make it a lot easier. So just to show you this one, obviously it is a bit wonky at the minute because I haven't secured it properly, and I can't really be chewed to have to put it together fully for you. You get the point. The main thing that I don't like about this one, if I'm honest, is the sort of chicken wiry type pattern, because it means it's impossible to keep clean, which is for me pretty essential if you're going to be eating off it. You just want at least the dust and crap that just generally gets on stuff like that when it's been stored away. You want that off. And two, all the little things will just roll off and in and get stuck, and I just didn't like it. It has rusted a lot. I've had it maybe 2 years, but I've only probably used it a handful of times, to be honest. So I'm not sure where that rust's come from or how that's come about. Maybe there was a bit of dampness or something. I'm not 100% sure, although it has been stored in the same place as the UEO one for probably about 6 months, maybe longer. So I don't know how long this one's been rusty, because like I say, I don't use it very often, and I haven't used it at all since I got the other one. But as I said, the UEO tie table does have a couple of tricks up its sleeve. The first trick is this chopping board, which I don't think comes as standard, but you can add it on with a bag and with some of these little clips as an extra. Again, there's a link to all of this in the description if you want to get your hands on one. I don't know whether there's any stock, because they always sell out instantly, and it took me months to get my hands on one, even though Aiden's meant to be my pal and he was busy selling them to everyone else. Thanks for that, Aiden. But anyway, this is how this works. Now it is them little tiny satisfying things, and I'll show you what I mean, because it's this. Look at the, like, you put this in, obviously it's got the little legs on the bottom, they go in there, if I can find, and look at the alignment. Now that might seem a little bit needless, but I appreciate stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people who have, especially the high-end vans and that kind of stuff, you just like little things, and when you're paying for something that is quality, you want to see the little quality touches, and you definitely see them all over the place. Another thing, if I take the chopping board off and I'll just pop it over here, another thing which I really like are these things. So these, you can actually put different things on them. So they come out, there's a little hook, you can get little attachments, you can put your tongs for your barbecue or something like that, and you can essentially put this in any of these holes around the van. So you just pop it on there, and there we have it, hangs underneath. I've seen pictures where people have hung little lanterns and stuff off it, obviously the tongs, barbecue stuff, dogs leads, other things and stuff like that. It's a great little attachment system, and essentially you could have about 20 of them on if you really wanted. So as you can quite clearly see, both of them service tables, one of them just has that little bit extra, and it just does. I don't care what anyone says, you can really see the quality difference. When I was talking to Aidan the last time after his first meet up, which again, congratulations, there was a great turnout, it all looked fantastic from what I've seen. It seems like he's got a big batch of them coming, but as far as I'm aware, they're nigh on all sold, I think. But I will put a link to it in the description. You can do pre-orders and other bits and bobs, so if he has got any, grab them while they can. They're not there very often, and if he hasn't, get yourself on the order list, and I'm sure he'll fulfill the order as fast as he can. But anyway, the table there is only functional, really, if you're going to put stuff on it. And that's where the next and the final thing is, which I bought it ages ago, actually. I bought it for the trailer. If anyone can remember the trailer build, if you didn't, go and click this link. Not much of a build series, to be honest. We've done a couple of episodes, but still, we bought it for that, to cook outside, and we still got it, and it works really well, and it works even better on a nice little table like that one. So this is the final bit of kit. Now this is the hose for it, and what I would generally do is I'll put the tyre table on the back tyre, because I've got an external gas point, which this just clips into, and then clips into the side of this. Now this is the Kadak 2 coupe. I think there's a newer version, because I think I saw a different YouTuber showing it off, and I think it's got little wind guards and stuff on. Mine is not that version anyway, but essentially it's a nice tube burner gas hob thing. I'll put this on so you can see what I mean. So that fits perfectly there. Pop that open, and there we'll have it. Now you obviously have these, the little sort of pan riser type things, or you actually also get, which is normally what we use if I'm honest, is these. So you just pop them on, cook away, and then job is a good one. So like I say, the size of the tyre table, in all fairness, couldn't be any more perfect to fit this on. Difference is, and I mean realistically, if you're cooking outside, you either want to be standing up or sitting down, and it wants to be at that height. A lot of tables are they're a little bit low when you're standing up, or they're a little bit high if you're sitting down. Tyre tables, in all fairness, like the height of them are perfect. And this is what I mean, for anyone who sees that sort of the eating on your tyre, you're not though, really, are you? You've got a nice table, and it sticks out quite far. I mean, scientific measurement, it's about that big. There's actual dimensions, but yeah, it's worked very well. So this is the plan for Norway. Now I have got a couple of concerns, because there's a load of little midges and stuff kicking around already now in England. I do know that they have a similar thing as Scotland sometimes at certain times of the year in Norway, so hopefully I avoid that. If that's the case, I'll spend the entire time in my van, because I've took my fly screen off the door because it was rattling, and I haven't got a fly screen on anymore. So that'll be an absolute nightmare. But in terms of items within my garage, that is everything. However, for anyone who hasn't seen, we do have the electrical install. So obviously we've got a lot of vertical space up there. So we've got the inverter, the MPPT, two of them up there. We've got the Orion up there, like a fuse thing. As you can probably tell, I'm just repeating the names on them. I didn't really know about it. The install was done by Lewis at Adapt Vans, and it's been fantastic. His service has been fantastic. And if I was recommending anyone for an electrical install, that's who I'd recommend. That said, he generally tries to only do good high-end installs, because he's so busy, he gets the luxury of picking and choosing. But drop him a message on Instagram if you are interested, and see whether he can hook you up. The other thing in here is this. This is the reservoir for the HPC leveling legs, the hydraulic legs. And this, I actually 3D printed them and stuck them on the wall for this. And what that does is essentially is, if I have an issue with the hydraulic legs, I can use it almost like a jack, and it'll take a while, but I can do all four corners manually. Now I'll show you the batteries. I've currently only got 660, not that that's only. So here they are, there's two, and basically this cage will be rebuilt and we'll have an additional battery. So that'll be three 330 amp batteries in here. It's a lot of electric. As you can see, I'm not taking a massive amount of kit. There's no bikes in there, there's not all sorts, which I know a lot of people just fill the back, and mine's mostly full with electrical equipment. But in terms of the basics, you want a comfy seat. I want a nice table to sit at if I'm going to sit at a table. I want the ability to cook outside. I was going to bring me fire pit. I'm not going to, because I don't think I'm going to have a chance to properly use it, and then I've got to wait for it to cool down and then put it away, and I didn't like that. A DIY kit, which if I was a betting man, thankfully I'm not, I would be putting a lot of money on that being in and out of the back of the van regularly. And on top of that, obviously a nice long electrical cable for any time that I might end up at a campsite, and that just lives in the van permanently. But if you have got any questions about any of the kit in this video, drop them in the comments below. If you've got any questions about the electrical setup, the leveling legs, or anything like that, I have got previous videos about them, so you can check them out on the channel. But thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.